Also big tonight, the police in Dominica was systematically attacked before they were forced to use tear gas to disperse a crowd of demonstrators last week. Both ruling party and security officials in Roseau have said. The Dominica Labour Party said in a statement overnight that some demonstrators tried everything to enter the parliament, including trying to seize the barricades and pelting the police with stones and bottles. DLP chairman Emmanuel Nanton also spoke to me earlier today for the show Caribbean Political Leads.
There were a few people who came out and blocked the road. So you could hear one of my former colleagues, Washburn Coffee, talking to Dr. Fontaine, and it's all over social media, telling him that we have 50 people by the barricades at Fort Young Hotel. And there's only one police officer there, so we can breach the police security there. And then all of them went there, and even then, they had 150 people. So while Parliament was going on, and all of Parliament unanimously voted for the bill and supported the bill, Dr. Fontaine, with his colleagues, 150 of them, were trying to create mayhem and give an impression that Dominica is under siege. That was not true at all. While they were there with 50 people initially, they called on social media for people to come to that area with trucks of stones and bottles. And in fact, people showed up in one particular transport with trucks with bottles and stones. The police asked them to disperse. They tried to pull away the barricade. The police asked them to disperse again. Police read the laws for them. They did not disperse. They started to send stones and bottles at the policemen. The police again asked them to disperse. When they would not do it, the police used tear gas to disperse the 150 people that were there.
The opposition has painted the demonstrations as peaceful.
For the most part, the protest was peaceful. We were singing songs. We were talking about the government should go and so on.
However, social media footage seemed to suggest that the demonstrators initiated trying to tear down barricades and started pelting missiles at police. Leader of the opposition United Workers' Party, Thompson Fontaine, downplayed it as what he called a tussle, blaming the police for the subsequent escalation.
At about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, some protesters who were very much discouraged with the fact that the law appears to be going through in Parliament attempted to shift those barriers. In the process of shifting the barriers, there was a small tussle between the police that were on the other side of the barriers. And in any normal policing work, you would have expected the police to just control that situation.
More than half a dozen people, including 2 former MPs, have since been charged with incidents arising out of last week's clashes. One of those is Danny Nuge, who before his detention on Tuesday had threatened retribution if ever the pendulum swings.
When it comes the turn, when the shoe is on the other foot,
yes,
people don't say, hey, look at what's happening to people who are in government now.
Right.
Fontaine said they were protesting because they did not get everything they wanted. He suggested that the issue of campaign finance reform is non-negotiable. The Dominica Labour Party said neither did it get all it wanted from the bills that was unanimously passed before Parliament.
So Dr. Fontaine made mention of people coming in to vote and a bloated list. They said that there was a bloated list in Dominica. The Parliament agreed to cleanse the list. How did we decide to do it? They said that there were thousands of dead people voting. Dead people cannot vote. That is ridiculous. So if you have to come to confirm yourself, you have to come in person to Dominica and say, I am Emmanuel Nanton. Here is my Dominica ID card, my passport or social security or driver's license, and I am who I am. I am interested in voting. I stay on the list. So if there are people who are from the Commonwealth who lived in Dominica 20 and 30 and 40 years ago, whose names are still on the list, they are not going to come back to Dominica and confirm. So they will be cleansed of the list. If people who died who were not taken off the list for any reason, dead people can't come back and say, I am coming back from heaven, or I'm coming back from purgatory. We have no Dominicans in hell. Sorry about that. But they can't say come back from heaven or purgatory, and here is my Dominica passport or social security or ID. So those will be cleansed of the list too. There are lots of Dominicans living everywhere around the world who are not interested in coming back. They too will not come back. But people like Dr. Fontaine, who just came back from Sudan, and before Sudan, he came back from Washington. He can come and say, I am Thompson Fontaine. Here is my ID. Here is my Dominican passport or driver's license or social security. I want to vote. I want to remain on the list. So we believe in so doing, we will cleanse the list of voters in Dominica and move it from 74,000 to what it would be more reasonable. So the point that they're making on that makes no sense. The other point that the opposition asked for in Dominica was that they want a voter ID card. We in the Dominican Labour Party felt that a voter ID card is good, but it would be better if we provide a national ID card. So somebody could come say, that's my national ID card. I use it for different things, including traveling to Grenada or St. Vincent or OECS countries. That's my Dominican national ID card. We use it every day. We use it for different reasons. So that card will be more relevant. They said, no, we want a ID card specifically for voter ID. We said, okay, we believe our ID is better, but for compromise, we will stay away from the national ID and give you a voter ID. The other thing they asked for, and that wasn't on the list, or that wasn't on the agenda before, was that of campaign financing. We said campaign financing may be something that we could look at. We are not opposed to that, but it wasn't part of the thing. There are a number of things that will come into effect to put that in place, and therefore that can be done at some time in the future. Is there anything wrong with that? We don't believe so.
The full interview with Emmanuel Nanton will be aired Thursday night on the premiere edition of the Caribbean Political Leads, which is aired on some of these participating stations across the region.